So over the past couple of weeks, I've seen a lot of conversation, a lot of questions from new and returning players about the state of Destiny 2, where the campaign went, where the planets went, where the zones went, where the content that they bought and paid for went. And while I try to do my best to kind of get ahead of that conversation and help out and inform as many fallen away Destiny players back in the past over the summer, obviously, I just am not able to reach everybody. And I think now is a really good time to sit down and look at it and ask some serious hard questions about the state of Destiny 2 as it relates to the Destiny Content Vault and what we can hope that Bungie can do to deliver a better experience for both new light and returning players fourfold. I think that's essentially what this video is going to be about. Sorry, no formalities today. Thanks for coming and checking out this video. We've got a lot to talk about, and I think it's really important that we have this honest conversation because when we look at the core aspect of what has been removed time and time again, it seems like we have yet to get what I would call a fair trade. Obviously, when we look at it and we look at the core principle or the premise that they had to do this in order to become more agile, to become a better development team, to deliver better content, better fixes faster, and have more content down the road. Obviously, that trade is under the premise of we have to be patient, we have to wait. And that can be difficult, especially in 2020. And so I want to go off of that thought and assume it's true. You know, assume the best intent of Bungie, namely because I think it's just a better way to live off that. Whether it's true or not, we can argue and debate that, but let's just accept that as they had to do this for reasons that are driving into the technical side of it, which means that, okay, we have to wait until they do it. Now, obviously, the downside, the immediate critique of that aspect is that, well, we lost content. Should they maybe have done a Destiny 3? Personally, I like that I keep my guns, that I keep my progress, that I have my character. Destiny to Destiny 2, honestly felt like we kind of done this before. It's very similar. Now, the difference is that we're still in Destiny 2, and we have a 3-year roadmap for more content to keep coming down the pipeline. So when we look at that original premise of a technological aspect, we also have to at least take into account favorably, or at least give them a merit of grace to say like, well, yeah, you do know you got many more things coming down the line, and maybe it was just going to be daggum near impossible. Now, you're welcome to completely disagree and to disregard that premise altogether, but note that the framing of my thoughts here are going to be that at its core. Okay, so that out of the way, this is where it gets just unfortunately frustrating for me because as somebody who really loves this game and hopes that people play it and enjoy it, there is legitimate and honest critique out there about it. Let's take a look at like strikes. Let's take a look at Gambit, Crucible. Let's take a look at the zones themselves. Let's take a look at the raids. New light players have no access to any of that. There's no real story. There's no new maps in Crucible. Gambit lost a good chunk of it. Strikes, we lost. What's the count at now? 7. We got maybe 2. So yeah, there's been a big change. And here's the point that I want to get at really early on in this video is when I talked especially to new light players, yes, they got a new campaign, and I think that's absolutely needed. And I think what they delivered, having played through it, is good. Like it exists. It's incredibly short. And I think it was maybe a missed opportunity or perhaps some kind of deal with Game Pass that we see Forsaken remained behind a paywall. If the new light experience, I think at this moment included Forsaken, I would say, great, you have this amazing campaign to play. You can go and enjoy an incredible year of Destiny content without having to spend a dime. And that's essentially where maybe the misstep has occurred. Now, the thing that I think Bungie needs to do at its core, out full steam ahead, all engines, let's go, 88 miles per hour, every kind of speed meme that you can throw at the screen right now, they have to start and they need to show what that trade is worth by delivering fast updates, new Crucible maps, new content as quickly as possible. And I say all of this, and I know that in the age of COVID, that is asking a hell of a lot of the development team. I don't bemoan them and I don't fault them for this, especially the developers themselves. some of these decisions are made beyond those working in the pits, building out the content, trying to deliver us the best game possible. And I do want to say that obviously I have an inherent bias. I really have enjoyed Bungie. I think that no matter for how many mistakes that as a company they might make in the direction of whether I prefer they do with this game or they don't do with this game, I would always say that they have at least the best intent from my third-party perspective, and it shows when they make a mistake, they fix it and they correct it. What obviously gets, I think, the majority of us as a community frustrated, maybe a little bit, unnerved, is when they usually make the same mistakes over and over again. Same mistakes just feel like it's like they're either not paying attention or it's intentional in that regards. All right. So what is a New Light player to do? What is a player who is feeling that squish of content to do? Honestly, I wish we had access to Destiny 1. I wish Destiny 1 was a way to play this game. And I think it all still boils down to lots of rumors and speculation about what's to come over the course of the next 4 or 5 years. The thing that I would say is working in Destiny 2's favor is the roadmap. You got the Witch Queen next year. You got Lightfall the year after that. 2021, 2022, taking us into 2023. Now, if there's going to be more content to this game after that, that's great. However, rumors continue to persist that there's something bigger building on the horizon. So, that's a lot to ask of a community and a player base with the New Light option. Now, you might be saying to yourself, Brian, New Light's completely free. Like, why are they complaining? And I think it's not a matter of complaining. I think it's a matter of delivery and what exists. The New Light player is also the Destiny Year 1 player, is also the returning player who purchased this product, who bought those expansions. And there isn't really anything there for them now. They are essentially, for all case and purposes, a New Light player, even though they have actually spent money on this game. And while I think Game Pass can help take the sting off of that, and I honestly think that it does for me personally, so that way if I wanted to play on multiple platforms, and if I've got Game Pass that covers Xbox currently, I'm hoping that it comes, it's supposed to come to PC in 2021. That's going to help take off some of that sting, which will be really good to see overall. But then shifting that completely right back into the aspect of, well, what about them? And so I leave the question to you, because I think the best thing would have been to say is that Forsaken would have been included for New Light. That would have given a lot of content, a lot of things for players to do. There is still lots of things to do, and that's what I'm spending my time in the comments answering, saying, hey, you can go work on guns, you can go chase down different goals. In fact, for me personally, I am focusing in on what I would consider to be permanent fixtures of the games, and those are exotics and the exotic catalysts. While they obviously changed up the way of some of those older ones, they're still in the game and they still can be acquired. And so it comes down to getting a gun that I don't have, unlocking its catalyst if it exists, and grinding it out and working that way to that inherent end. So that's essentially where, as a player, as somebody who's a long time, somebody who has enjoyed Destiny for the last 6 years and who plans to continue to stick with it and play with the game and in the sandbox and the world with friends, I think it's a matter of focusing in on the things that are at least as semi-permanent as possible. Like focusing on my power level isn't as a big of a draw, because I know that in a year's time it's just going to artificially and magically go up, even if I don't put the time into it. And if I do put the time into it, then great, then I'm ahead of the curve, ready to rock and roll with lots of materials. So there's a give and take and ebb and flow that's going to come down to it. Anyway, that's just kind of some thoughts that I wanted to share. I think Bungie has to find a way to kind of address some of the core gaps in the content and deliver, hopefully, a good experience pretty consistently going forward. I think when we look back over the course of the next year, the questions are going to remain like, well, what did we get for it? You said that you had to do this. You did it. There has to be some kind of tangible way that we measure this. And those are my thoughts. I'd love to know yours. Thanks everybody for being here. I didn't really introduce myself at the beginning. I just wanted to kind of jump in and get my thoughts out there. My name's Brian. This is Ginger Prime. Thanks for being here. You are amazing, especially to the 6% of you who've hit that subscribe button and signed up here for these kind of videos at Ginger Prime. Thanks so much for watching, for listening, and hopefully you have a fantastic day. And I hope to see you soon. But until then, Take care. This video is sponsored by me, Ginger Prime. Hopefully you'll check out my podcast channel, Ginger Gaming Radio, which we have lots of guests, lots of great conversations, and even more highlights. Links are in the description below. Let me know what you think. Thanks.